Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling Review Series for the 27th of March, 2000, I wish, 1982. Wrestling that exists now much, much worse than the previous predecessors of things like Mid-Atlantic. Anyway, we open with Jake Roberts and Blackjack Mulligan Jr. versus Carl Fergie and his tag team partner. Again, the Ox Baker experiment seems to have not done very well. Ric Flair also mentions wanting to fight Ole Anderson again, wanting to come to Mid-Atlantic and prove himself. Obviously, Flair becomes, over the next 3 or 4 years, the guy in the Crockett territory, and certainly Ric Flair, 1982, a pretty big deal. Sergeant Slaughter manages to come out, says he wants Flair, he wants Jake Roberts, he wants whomever, and Flair and Slaughter are, without a doubt, some of the better talents at the time in 1982. 82 is just a weird time for me because, again, I'm at that point, a year old, and so not even a year old yet in that time frame. So just an interesting thing to look back at wrestling and realize how much better in general wrestling was at the time. And again, Jake Roberts and Blackjack Mulligan Jr., a.k.a. Barry Windham, facing off against Fergie and I believe Mike Miller. And so, Roberts coming in, doing a lot of the go-around stuff, real basic stuff, nothing necessarily worth writing home about. Roberts still extremely lean at this time. Manages to lock up with his opponent and pretty dominant throughout, stays on the arm. Mulligan comes in, he hits an arm ringer and an arm lock, arm bar, and basic stuff. Barry Windham Jr., a.k.a. Blackjack Mulligan Jr., continuing the punishment. Jake Roberts comes back in and stays on his opponent pretty well. The DDT comes around 82, 83, maybe something like that, but manages to be a pretty major move at the time when he's in Mid-South. Windham Jr., a.k.a. Mulligan Jr. coming in and staying on the arm of his adversary. Flair coming into town at the time is a pretty major discovery, or I don't even know if I'd say discovery, but value. And of course, coming back to the Mid-Atlantic area where he's predominantly a major star over, 85 through 90, 91. Obviously, into the WCW transition, Carl Fergie taking down Jake Roberts, and Miller gets fought back a little bit. Interesting that the continuation of the area, and again, jump back elbows, basic maneuvers, and eventually Jake Roberts gets the knee lift and the victory. Mulligan says he wants to be one of the best in the world, also wants to challenge whomever is in front of him. And again, Jake Roberts comes in, basically says they're ready for the tag tournament, says they're ready for anything. We see a plane with Jimmy Valiant coming in, music video for Valiant, bikers, and all that stuff. So Jimmy Valiant, really a major star, even here in 1982, which I did not realize he was a star that far back in the area. So that's new for me, just news to me a little bit. Not that there's anything right or wrong with that, just is what it is. But we move to the next in the series of run-throughs here, which happens to be, continuation. A Jimmy Valiant match. Bill White and Jimmy Valiant, a very basic match. You're not going to see a lot of upfighting. You're not going to see a lot of major stuff here. Basically, what you'll see is Jimmy Valiant punch kick and, doing some babyface stuff, jiving around the ring and kind of doing the stocking cap, arm bars and basic stuff. Valiant, not exactly a valiant fighter, no pun intended, but, basic maneuvers, punch kick, arm locks, and proof that you can get over doing virtually nothing in 1982. I would even contend you can continue to do that here, but an elbow drop and a victory for Jimmy Valiant gets the go behind there, and ultimately we kind of see a come up of two underneath talents at the time, Dave Peterson and Ron Ritchie. Neither guy really has a clear advantage. go behind hammerlocks, arm bars, arm locks, and the like. Both guys jockeying for position. Richie, I guess, would be the better of the two in the sense of having more history within the company, actually getting a victory or two in the weeks leading up to television here, and super basic stuff, nothing necessarily worth writing home about, but at the same time, pretty basic. And front face locks, drops the knee and continues getting the victory in the process here. We then see a continuation of the nature of things going forward, and again, kind of getting things going back in his general direction and cross body. Richie is continuing to be one of the best in the world, and then we go to more promos, and Austin Idol basically saying he's going to be one of the best in the area, continuing to hype both himself and the tag team division. Ivan Koloff out, and he's hyping things. An allegiance or an alliance between Slaughter and Ole Anderson. Ric Flair coming to town could have issues with that. Anyway, we continue to kind of go forward in that general direction, and we also continue to be pretty forward motion motivated. And we get to the next in the series of matches, which happens to be Jack Briscoe and Stan Stebert, one-sided match. But, that's to be expected. Jack Briscoe managing to do a squash match here. More about probably getting television time for Briscoe and Briscoe brothers are going to be in the major tag tournament. Maybe your new tag team champions. We don't necessarily know that yet. I know I've watched up to a short span of time. Figure 4 by Jack Briscoe getting the victory there. Squash match for the team of Cornoodle and Jim Nelson. Tony Anthony, one of the squash individuals, didn't catch the name on the other guy, but anyhow, basic maneuvers there, and we continue to see lots of brawling, lots of go behind there, and it's pretty simple that obviously Slaughter's guys are going to battle to the best of their ability. Tony Anthony does get a bit more offense than he normally would, but obviously Slaughter's guys getting some cheating with the double cross body and a basic victory there. Gets things going according to his plan, at least to some degree, and again we get to a top rope clothesline, almost like the Heart Attack, only with an elevated nature to it, right here in 1982. Cool deal, and we close the program on that. Notice after a Jake Roberts promo, Jack Briscoe aligning with Roberts, and we'll go on to more. We've got the AEW review and the Impact review upcoming, so stay right where you are.